Welcome to the Mum CEO podcast. I'm your host, Esther Roach. Join me as we explore the dynamic intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship. From the challenges to the triumphs, we're here to unravel it all. Get ready for insightful conversations, practical wisdom, and a whole lot of inspiration. Let's embark on this empowering journey together. Hello and welcome to the Mum CEO podcast. I'm your host, Esther Roach, and today I'm joined by Michele Walsh. Hi, Michele, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Esther, and thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this.
No, you're very welcome. So, for the benefit of the audience, please could you introduce yourself and what you do?
Yeah. So my name's Michele Walsh. I am a wealth coach. I used to be all about the money, but actually there's so much more to money than money. So I'm a wealth coach. I help women in business to be wealthy on the inside and the outside in all areas of their life.
Wow. So it's, money is quite a large issue, if you like, to
Yeah.
talk about. So
Yes.
dig into that. But you're a mum yourself, is that right?
Yeah, it is. I'm a mum and a grandmum.
Oh, and a grandmama. Oh,
And
wow.
a grandmum, yes.
How many?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got three grandsons, 15, 12, and 3 months.
oh, wow. So you've got your hands full, basically.
I have, yes. Just when you think they've left home, then they start bringing their children back.
I've got all that to look forward to one day
Yes.
when
Yeah.
things start going and stuff. So I wanted to touch a little bit on obviously, your journey. You decided to kind of change career at the age of 48, the young
Yes.
age of 48. Talk us through how did that come about?
Yeah, well, I've been in business all my life. So I left school and when my careers teacher asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I want to be rich. And she said, "That's not a career." And I thought, "Oh, I think it will be." But so I embarked on, I'd always trained as a dancer, I trained as a dance teacher. So I did aerobics and children's dance classes. In the Jane Fonda days, in the Lycra days, for anybody old enough to remember those days. And then when I got married, I then went on to support my then husband in creating or co-creating a computer services company. We built this up to be hugely successful. And the interesting thing was, at its most financially successful, I was at my emotionally lowest point in my life because I think I'd always put this value on money that if you had money, then you'd be happy.
Yeah.
I don't know where I got that from, but I genuinely did. And I mean, it was so not right. It was so not how life is. And so me and my husband, we had a successful business, but a very unsuccessful marriage as a result of, working and living together wasn't the greatest thing in the world. So I took over as the sole director. And I know now that I took over to prove that I was good enough, to prove that I could do, because he was like the leading light. I was the supporting role in the business. So I took over to prove that I was as good as. I'm sure so many will relate to this, to prove that I was good enough.
Yeah.
And so I ran it for 7 years. But actually, what happened is the minute I proved that I could be successful on my own, there was no motivation. I had no passion at all to be in computers, in the corporate world. It just sucked the life out of me. And again, I ended up in the same place where I'd got lots of financial success, but nothing in here. It was literally at the expense of my soul. And it was in 2007, as the financial crash was looming in our industry, things were changing. And what happened is once what I know now is once you set that seed, things happen
Yeah.
that if you don't do something, things happen to make you do something. And for 2 years, I'd been saying, I can't stand this. I don't like it. I need to get out. But I kept going, I kept going, I kept going.
Mm.
I think I was expecting something to happen for me, which it did, because we lost a client who was 40% of our business.
Mm.
And that was it. That was like the light bulb. And along with that, I had a friend I'd known since school. Her husband was diagnosed with a terminal illness. And
Mm.
he was, as he says, he was 364 days younger than me. And then it was like a light bulb moment. I suddenly thought, life's for now. You're not happy. The money hadn't made me happy. I wasn't happy in the work that I did. And I know if I hadn't have walked away, I would have had a breakdown.
Oh,
So I took the decision. I put the company into voluntary liquidation, which was very traumatic. I had 50 women working for me. And I think I kept going longer out of a sense of responsibility
yeah.
to keep it was their income, it was their wages, it was their living. And I walked away into literally a black hole. I drove to the unemployment office in a car that was worth £70,000 that hadn't yet been collected by the finance company. And it was like a surreal moment. One moment, I'm the MD of a successful business, with 50 staff. Next minute, I'm like, got nothing. And I'd always lived to my limits. I'd never saved a penny in my life. I was always like, the rainy day's never going to happen.
Mm.
So there was no backup. There was just, this was it. No career, no choice, huge debt, financial debt, because a lot of it was secured personally through me into this black hole. But there was a sense of relief. It was like, as I stood in the unemployment office, it was one of those defining moments we have in life where I knew I would remember it forever. I didn't know why it was happening, but I knew it was pivotal. And I just knew there was something else. There was something more that I needed to be doing with my life. And so I left the business and then I meandered. I literally had to get jobs at minimum wage to just pay the bills. And it was a very humbling experience because one of the jobs that I took was for our local cricket ground, selling cricket membership in our huge big shopping centre, where a lot of people knew me. So it was like the mighty had fallen, it was like I'd come crashing down. But honestly, I learned so much about myself, about I never ever saw myself as somebody who could sell anything, to be honest. But learning to sell something you've got no interest in, cricket, is quite an experience. And do you know what I learned most during that time was I learned rejection. And what I learned was the rejection wasn't about me, it was about the cricket. They didn't want cricket membership.
Mm.
So that was a huge lesson for me. And then, I feel like our purpose finds us. And I went on everything that was free because I had barely any money. And I went on a coaching weekend and I'd never heard of coaching, didn't know what it was.
Mm.
And when I went on this coaching weekend, I realized that I'd got this natural ability to bring out the best, specifically in women. So I'd done it through dance and aerobics, making people feel confident and believe in themselves. I'd done it in my computer business, which ironically was called Angel Data. I mean, if that isn't synchronicity, I just thought I'd pluck this name out of the air. But we were all women. And in every role that everybody had got, I was there championing them and helping them be the best that they could be. And so I trained to be a coach. It's weird because when I found the coaching certification I wanted, I got no money. But such was my determination, I found that there was some funding, and I actually got the funding to pay for the coaching. So we always think I'll do the thing when I've got the money,
Yeah.
but actually make the decision and the money finds its way to you know? And then I trained as a general life coach. I coached everybody in anything. I didn't know about niching or anything like that at that point. But I noticed there was a common denominator in people, and that was lacking in confidence. There was a massive gap between how talented people were, specifically women, and their level of self-belief and confidence. But it was when I had a coffee with a friend who'd been in business 17 years, and I did some of the mindset because I was NLP trained.
Mm.
I did some of the mindset work with her, and she messaged me and she said, you know, that mindset stuff you did with me, she said, it generated an extra £3,000 in my business in 8 days.
Wow.
It was like, and we're talking about 15, 16 years ago. So £3,000 extra in anybody's business in today's days is big. But then 15 years ago, it was huge.
Yeah.
So then I realized that correlation between your confidence
Mhm.
and asking, allowing, putting yourself out there to allow money to come through you. And then that was it. And as the time's gone on, I became known as Ms. Moneymaker. But if you live in the UK, we don't like money. We like the idea of it, but we don't like thinking about it or talking about it. And it was, you could see people recoil. When I went to a networking event and said, oh, I'm Miss Moneymaker, they were like, oh, it was like I was something bad, like, how very dare you speak and think and talk about money? It was like too in your face. As my daughter would say, it was too crass for the audience. And then as time's gone on, and it's only recently that I've rebranded again to become a wealth coach, because what I realized is abundance, money is so much more than just the currency and energy of money. It's about, because I've been financially wealthy and emotionally bankrupt, and I've been financially almost bankrupt and emotionally wealthy. So
Mm.
what I've realized is the sweet spot is like having the two, generating, being of high service and putting yourself out there
Mm.
so that you allow the money that you desire to come through you. And if you've got too much money, give it away. I've got clients that are earning so much money, they're able to give their parents like a salary, a thank you for all the things that they've done. And that's so empowering. So whether it's charities that you want to support or friends or family or whatever it is, the more you allow to come through you, the more you can all help everybody, really. That was a lot, wasn't it? Sorry. Without,
No,
without a
it's really interesting, to be honest, because I think you've mentioned so many things on there that affect a lot of people, especially around, the money mindset thing. And like you said, people don't like to talk about it, but it just stems from even childhood. It's the things that you hear all the time, and it affects you as you grow older. But you've also mentioned one thing really, which is really, it strikes a chord with me, because that's one of the things I value a lot, that you can have so much money, you don't even know what to do with it, but emotionally you're bankrupt. And
yeah,
that is so difficult, because there's a lot of people in that situation where, on the face of it, they've got so much going on, so much money, so much holidays, every expensive gadget you can think
yes.
of, but inside they're alone, and
Oh, absolutely.
there's
Yeah.
nothing going on. How do you balance that?
And that's interesting, because when I was in that position, when I had all the money, I didn't have anybody to speak to,
Mm.
because the people around me hadn't got the financial wealth that I'd got. So if I'd have said to them, I'm depressed, they're just, what are you talking about? You've got everything. And I didn't understand this inside outside wealth thing. I
Mhm.
didn't even know it was a thing. I just couldn't understand is, how is it when you've strived to get the success and all the things, the big house, the big car, the children, all the things, how could I not be happy?
Yeah.
And I honestly believe this is the way we're moving now, is that I don't think we need to compromise on both. And I do think there are beliefs that, you can't be rich or wealthy and happy. People who are, and but also I've been on the other side, and being broke, financially broke, is not a good place to be. Wondering how you're going to pay that bill, where you're going to get that money from. So neither place is a great place to be. And like you said, in my work, in the deeper work, I look at ancestral money patterns that we have inherited through our lineage,
Yeah.
through all types of different religions and upbringings, about, my parents, grandparents, they had to work hard for money. Money didn't come easy. Money is not everything. Money doesn't make you happy. So without knowing it, we've got all these things going around in the background of I call it our operating software, that are playing out.
Mm.
So if we're coming to grow a business, but we've got this thing that it's not all about money, so we undervalue what we're selling. We
Mm.
think that if we price ourselves low, more people will buy, which is so not the case. And I use this analogy. If you wanted a heart operation, you would not go to a bargain basement consultant who was doing an offer 2 for 1 on a Thursday for a heart operation. You'd be like, no, thank you. I'll find the money. I'll get the surgeon and that's that thing. And there is a fine balance. But I mean, my passion and mission right now is to help women become financially independent. So
Mhm.
it doesn't matter whether you're married, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're single, whether you're a single parent, that you can create the kind of income that gives you the life and lifestyle that you want for you and your family, independent of anybody else.
Yeah.
And, people talk a lot about financial freedom, but I believe for women specifically, financial independence is huge. Because when I look back, I stayed in a marriage that was not serving me because I didn't think I'd be able to afford to leave,
Yeah.
you know?
And
So,
unfortunately, that affects a lot of people. Actually, I've spoken to quite a few people on the show, and it's when you look at even issues of like domestic violence and those kind of things, people feel they're stuck in this situation because they haven't got the financial means, or
yeah.
feel they're not able to support themselves if they were to leave.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's at all levels because, me and my husband had a successful company, financially successful, but I still had it in my head. I couldn't afford to leave. And yeah, I mean, I think actually the biggest gift that we can give ourselves is inner wealth, is feeling wealthy no matter what the number is in your bank balance. And we've just had a mastermind day, and one of my clients, her rise to success has been stratospheric. 4 years ago, her yearly income was 40,000. She's just broken through 1,800,000
Oh, fantastic.
in 4 years. And we were saying and we were sharing that just because that bank balance has got bigger, there are still times and days when she doesn't feel wealthy.
Yeah.
Because we all think, oh, when I've got this, I'll feel like this. And when I've done that, and when, all this validation, when I'm successful, when I've got this many followers or this many listeners, or we all think, then I'll feel this. But actually, when you completely reverse engineer that and you feel it inside, no matter how much or how little you've got, then you are winning at life, because then energetically it raises your energy and vibration,
Mm.
so that all the external things you seek come to you anyway, without you having to strive and push and, make it happen. It happens anyway because of your energy.
Wow. That's powerful, isn't it?
Isn't it? And it's one of those things where you think, if I knew then what I know now,
Mm.
and I know when at 48, when I lost everything, that if I'd have had this wisdom then, things would have been so different for me so much quicker. However, I truly believe that it's taken me this long so that I can learn and resonate. If somebody comes to me and says I'm broke, I go, yeah, I get that. I've been there. If I had created so much success quickly, who would I be resonating with? Because yes, you do see people go, oh, from here to there in a heartbeat. But that's not the normal journey for the majority of us. And so I'm more relatable now, because I honestly thought when I started my coaching business, I'd be an overnight success. Well, this overnight success is 17 years in the making and still going. So, it's like, be kind to yourself, realize where you are, realize everything is energy. Every thought, every feeling, every action you do carries an energetic frequency. And the more you can focus on feeling good wherever you are in your life and business, then everything starts to shift and move upwards.
Wow, that's incredible advice there, Michelle. And you know, one of the things I was gonna ask you as well, because obviously you've been in doing this for a long time, but in your own experience, why do you think women are mostly affected from the confidence perspective? What do you think causes those things?
It's really interesting. I play tennis. That's my sport of, and we were talking about this because one of the guys at tennis is trying to sell his house,
Right.
and he's got all these beliefs about whether he can or he can't. So we got into this huge conversation, and it led on to this difference between men's beliefs and women's beliefs, and actually men's skepticism when it comes to mindset and energy and beliefs. And it confirmed why I don't work with men, because they're too cynical, they're too skeptical, and I'm just not alive long enough to be able to carry them through. But we were speaking about this, and we were speaking about, children. When you see children in play, I think the male people have a different inbuilt mechanism, whether it's because, originally when we were put on this earth, they were the hunters and went out and got there, and they wouldn't have been able to collect much food if they'd been at home going, oh, I'm a bit frightened, I'm a bit scared, and but you see it. And also as you move through life, and this came into conversation because one of the ladies is an HR person, and she was saying that men can sell themselves into a job that they can't do. Women can't talk themselves into a job that they can do. It's like, what is that about? And like I said, I had a mastermind day on Friday with 10 women, phenomenal women with incredible achievements already. But not one of them carried a consistent level of confidence and belief that matched what they'd already achieved, not even what they're going to go on to achieve.
Wow.
I think I honestly think it's school, it's in children. I think my legacy would be to help children reprogram from the start. So if they have experiences that knock their confidence, I mean, I'm sure most of us can remember a time when we stood up and had to speak or read in front of the class.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
that's terrifying for most people, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
I was a dancer. I've always been a performer. So for me, it was like, oh, all eyes are on me. Great, stand up. I didn't really care if what I read was right or wrong. I just got this inbuilt. My confidence level at times has been like a mask. It's like been way more than actually my ability. But then as times have gone on, it's like it's in alignment now. And I absolutely own the difference I make to everybody. And it's not just the people I work with, it's the ripple effect. If I change one woman's life because it empowers her, that impacts her children, her partners, her family, everybody, and the ripple goes on forever. So I think we need this movement where we need to wave the flag and support each other to say, I am good. Even if silently we stand in front of a mirror and go, I am good at what I do, because deep down we know we are. We just don't stand up and shout out and go, I'm amazing at what I do.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think it's a thing with a lot of women that you've mentioned on there, because the majority have so much experience and expertise in their various areas, but they'll never, most of them won't stand up and say, oh, and shout about it. You kind of like think, oh gosh, I can't really do that. And you hold yourself back instead of celebrating it and showing it. But I just wanted to touch on, obviously now you've got grandchildren as well, but what has been the impact of your journey on your own children? And does that reflect also in your grandchildren?
Oh, that's given me goosebumps, just you even messaging that or asking me that question. So with my own children, my son, he's in corporate law. He goes for if he doesn't like a job, he's out there. He goes for the job, for the positions that he knows he deserves. And it's really strange because for him, it's almost like a silent confidence. He's very unassuming, but he's got this aura about him that exudes, I know what I'm doing. My daughter, she's trained as a teacher. She teaches around 8-year-old children. It brings me to tears when I think of the things that she's empowered her children to do. And she's just going for a new job, a new role tomorrow. And she's going, oh, I'm feeling a bit nervous. And I said, Olivia, everywhere you go, she's like a Pied Piper with children. And in her first year as a teacher, she's been a teacher for 9 years. She got the children to do a dream jar. And one of the boys had put that he wanted to be on the West End stage. He was in theatre. And literally 6 months later, she went to watch him in the audience of his debut night, and he was one of the key roles on the stage. He couldn't believe it. His parents couldn't believe it. Olivia couldn't believe it. And they said, you have done this for him. So she's almost doing the work that I want to do, but at ground level. She doesn't care what their academic ability's like. She doesn't care what labels people are given. My child's ADHD, and she'll go, no, they're not. No, they're not. She gets children rolling around on the floor and she goes, when you finish, let's just sit up and, do this. And she's like, she's living it. And my grandchildren, I mean, my eldest is the more reserved. He's 15. I'm continually saying, you get what you think about most. Just keep telling yourself, you can do it, you can do it. And also to teach him that, of course, we can't do everything straight away.
Yeah.
There's a learning curve, but the more you tell yourself and envisage, and he's into rugby, and he's whatever they call it, a conversion where they kick the ball. And I said, just see it in your mind first. See it in your mind, then kick the ball and guide the ball. The youngest one, well, I mean, he's been a phenomenon. When he was 8 years old, he told me, I'm going to be a millionaire. And he said, I'll never work for anybody. I'll always have people work for me. And he said, when I've got a company, I'm going to make sure nobody wears black. I said, why is that? He said, because I found black makes people very glum and they need to brighten up their life. And he did a little video. I can't put it out anywhere because obviously he's a child, but he did a little video that said, you've just got to believe in yourself. And if you go to my nan's website, she'll show you everything you need to know, and just hold this crystal and believe in yourself. And I'm like, he's got a whiteboard planning out he wants to play for England rugby, and he's got each step that he needs to take to play for England. So it's working. And actually, it's even working with everybody I touch, because I play tennis, and people know that my vision is better than my ability, although I'm getting better. And it's like, I get to shots, I win games that I'm like, I am definitely the weakest link. But it's that power of the mind, So I think confidence, enthusiasm, belief is infectious, and I think people feel it. So if we all infuse ourselves, it's like a muscle, we get stronger, people feel it, and people want to be part of your energy.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Wow, it sounds incredible, to be honest. And I think we need more teachers like Olivia, because you want to believe in every child and give them that chance rather than kill the dreams, because you do hear a lot of stories about how people end up not following their dreams because they were told they were never good enough, or they would never be successful, or never achieve anything. So it's powerful, isn't it?
And it's funny because when I was at school, I had a teacher like that. His name was Mr. Bishop. And I was telling my daughter, and she said, it's making me emotional, I want to be the Mr. Bishop to every child I teach. She wants to be that teacher that children remember and think, I did this because she believed in me. So powerful, isn't it?
It is, and it shapes it shapes who we are. It's not just the home life, isn't it? It's the people we meet along the way
Yeah.
that help us to open up those doors and kind of
Yeah.
have that belief in ourselves. So, we do have a massive task to
Yeah.
be the positive role models, I suppose, and encourage others that we meet along the way, isn't it?
But it's like we need to empower ourselves so that we can empower our children and our grandchildren. I mean, I've got a 3-month-old who's just learning to roll over, and it's like, come on, you can do this. It's just a matter of learning to roll over or learning to create a 7-figure business. The confidence, the belief is the same, just multiplied.
No, absolutely. And it's just the ripple effect we were talking about, isn't it, earlier, that you get from having the right influences, the right sort of attitudes and behaviors. And we've touched on so many things on there, but it's really interesting to see how different success looks to different people. You've lived both experiences of being extremely wealthy and then being a boss and then becoming broke on
Yeah.
the other end.
Boss to broke overnight. What is what a title? What a label? Well, what I say now is boss to broke and back.
And back. Yeah, you're back. You're back
I'm
now.
back. I'm back.
It's,
I am back.
like you said as well, which I really loved, is the fact that, what some people might look at and think it's overnight success. You've been working at it for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I said to somebody, I must be absolutely passionate about what I do, because when I think about the hours that I've put in over the 17 years, and yes, the money's starting to flow now, but it hasn't always. But nothing has ever made me think, that's it, I can't do it, I'm giving up. And nothing, not for a minute, because I feel like this is way bigger than me, and this will become a legacy that people will remember or take from or learn from, that will change lives way beyond my time on this earth.
Oh, fantastic. No, it's been, absolutely lovely having you on the show today. I didn't get a chance to dig into your book as well, but you've got your book, The Big Shift.
I have. It's really funny because I'm just leaning the laptop on. Here's my book, The Big Shift.
Yes.
And the book is the step. It's a real simple step-by-step thing. It's the things that take a woman from being a woman in business to a businesswoman.
Right.
And it's so simple. It's on Amazon, it's everywhere. If you want a physical copy, reach out to me, get in touch.
No problem. And where can people find you, Michele?
I am everywhere as the Michele Walsh. Now, two things. It's Michelle with one L. I spend every day of my life saying that. And it's the Michele Walsh because the other Michele Walsh is a poker player in America. And
Right.
I'm so gambling adverse, it couldn't be me. But yeah, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere as Michele Walsh. And I'll be in pink.
Lovely. Now that what I'll do is when your episode goes live, we'll have some links that connect people directly to your website and to also be able to get your book, because I think that's really powerful and an important tool for women that are obviously changing their mindset with regards to getting into business and actually running it and following their dreams and passions and as well. So thank you so much for sharing and just enlightening us on the whole financial and emotional freedom aspects.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'll see you all again soon.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you.
Bye bye.